Good afternoon, dear students. Today we'll discuss physiology of circulatory readjustment during exercise. Already we have learned the basics regarding regulation of blood pressure. Now let's see what happens during exercise. So in today's lecture we'll discuss effect of exercise on muscle blood flow, that is especially skeletal muscle blood flow, blood pressure, cardiac output, and effect of training on all this, and changes in ventilation. So just to recap, our cardiac cycle and pressure volume changes in heart and great vessels during systole and diastole. You can see during systole almost blood pressure is zero in the ventricles. It rises abruptly during isovolumetric contraction phase. So this phase is the isovolumetric contraction phase. There is a sharp rise in blood pressure. Then pressure continues to rise in the rapid ejection phase of systole, and again comes back down steeply during this other phase called as isovolumetric relaxation phase, in which ventricle relaxes as a closed cavity. Again pressure is zero during diastole. So this is regarding left ventricular pressure changes. In same flow with the aorta will have the same pressures, but during diastole it is around 80 to 90 millimeters of mercury. It is not zero. It is due to the Venn-Kessel's effect of the blood vessels. During isovolumetric contraction phase, pressure is constant as the valves are closed, and pressure rises during systole along with the ventricle. Again it falls and have a notch when there is a closure of seminal valves. Again pressure back to the pre-systolic low, that is diastole. So this is the aortic pressure changes. Now this will change during our exercise. So systolic blood pressure ultimately depends basically on force of myocardial contraction, and diastolic depends basically on peripheral resistance. So during hemodynamics we have seen that the arterioles and the major arteries are the sites of vascular resistance, because they are having large number of muscle, that is smooth muscle, which is under control of sympathetic tone. Now this is the recording of pressure changes in the vessels in systole and diastole. You can see the peak pressure during systole, that is a systolic blood pressure around 120 millimeters of mercury, but duration of systole is almost one third as compared to the diastole. So average pressure throughout the cardiac cycle is mean arterial blood pressure. So it is calculated by diastolic pressure plus one third of pulse pressure, and this is the main pressure which we monitor usually when the patient is in the ICU. So it is called as a mean arterial blood pressure. So it is around 100 millimeters of mercury. It is average pressure during cardiac cycle. So monitoring is done by basically on this. Now during exercise what happens? In anticipation of physical activity, brain inhibits the vagal nerve impulse to the heart, and as well as there is a mass sympathetic discharge effects on entire circulation, leading to increase in arterial pressure, increase in cardiac output. Now let's recap the innervation. Same, the from vasomotor center, vagus nerve which is supplying to the heart, which is parasympathetic, it is inhibitory in nature. It decreases the heart rate, and sympathetic is going both to heart as well as the blood vessel. At the heart it is causing the increase in heart rate, and at blood vessel it is causing a vasoconstriction. Now effect of sympathetic discharge, see, it increases the heart rate and increase the pumping of heart. It will lead to vasoconstriction all over except arterioles in the active muscles, which are got some different innervation, as well as in coronary and cerebral system, because they are poorly innervated by vasoconstrictor fibers. And basically it is also important that they should be conserved, because both are the vital organs, coronary supplying the heart, cerebral supplying the brain. If there is a vasoconstriction here, blood flow to the heart will reduce and brain will reduce, and the person will go in danger. So it's a natural protection phenomena. If there is a sympathetic discharge, vasoconstriction all over except these two. And in active muscle, what is happening basically? They are having sympathetic cholinergic vasodilator system. That is, at this site, at the nerve endings, there is a release of acetylcholine. So it causes vasodilatation, as well as due to exercise, there is accumulation of local metabolites, increase in CO2 level, increase in H ions, and accumulation of various products which will lead to vasodilatation in the blood vessels of the skeletal muscle, leading to increased blood flow. So you can see this is at the rest. It's almost near about 9 to 10 ml, but you can see during exercise how much it is increased there. So this is during rhythmic muscle contraction, there is increased blood flow to the calf muscle we have taken. Now what happens, see, almost you can have a 25-fold increase in muscle blood flow during strenuous exercise. It is due to basically intramuscular vasodilatation caused by direct effect of increased muscle metabolism as well as sympathetic cholinergic system. So under rest, basically muscle blood flow is around 3.6 ml per 100 gram, but you can see during exercise it is going to around 90 ml. So that much increase, almost 25 times increase muscle blood flow is there. So this diagram will give a better picture of how much is the contribution of all. So at rest, when cardiac output is around 5 liters per minute, coronaries are getting around 4%, that is they are getting 200 ml of blood. They are getting cutaneous, that is skin, it is getting 300 ml. Brain is almost getting 14%, that is 700 ml of blood. Renal, it is around 1 liter, and GIT, it is getting around 1300 ml, and muscle around 1 liter, 20%. But when a person doing exercise, now based on the number of muscles involved, there will be difference in contribution. So in moderate exercise, when cardiac output has gone to around 17.5, almost near about 3.5 times the normal cardiac output, see the distribution changes so differently. Coronaries are getting almost 750, they are getting more than the normal, because it is a pressure, again cardiac muscle is exerting more, so it is getting more amount of blood. Cutaneous are also more because of warming. Brain is getting constantly 750 ml it is receiving. Although percentage reduces, but it is normal, it is getting 700, here it is getting 750 ml. More compromise coming to the kidneys and GIT, and you can see the bulk is going to muscles. Almost 71% is going to the muscle. Now this decides again the blood pressure also. How many muscles are involved in the muscle contraction? If you are doing exercise where less amount of muscles are involved, this will be less. And if you are doing a whole body exercise where majority of the big muscles are involved, you will have a difference. So this is the adaptation of cardiopulmonary system to exercise. So changes in blood pressure will depends on that. If isotonic exercise using only a few muscles, what will happen? Vasoconstriction all over will be there. In few active muscles, vasodilatation will be there. So that's why there is a increase in both systole as well as diastole will be there in this. So in the case of exercise involving isotonic exercise, where fewer muscles are involved, will have rise in both. And mean arterial blood pressure is going to be around 170 from 100. But if massive whole body isotonic exercise is done, such as swimming, running, what will happen? Vasodilatation in the large muscles of active muscle will take place, leading to rise in systolic, because heart is contracting strongly, but due to massive vasodilatation, decrease in peripheral resistance, diastole will remain same, or in fact it will fall. So in moderate exercise, there is a fall in diastolic blood pressure during exercise, and increase in mean arterial pressure is only around 20 to 40 millimeters of mercury, because systolic is rising but diastolic remains same or it is falling. So this is the in case of moderate exercise involving whole body exercise like running and swimming. That's why it is being recommended to do running and swimming for blood pressure treatments. But in isometric exercise, where length of muscle is constant, for example, you are lifting a heavy weight, that time there is rise in total peripheral resistance. So there will be rise in both systolic as well as diastolic blood pressure. So this is the different in type of exercise what you're doing, isotonic, isometric, and how much group of muscles are involved. Cardiac output will be stroke volume into the heartbeat. So there is increase in venous return due to there is increase peripheral resist, more venous blood pooling, and increase in heart rate. In both isotonic and isometric exercise, cardiac output rises, but you can see the proportion. Initially it is rising, but later it is remaining constant when the heart rate rises. Reason is that with increase in heart rate, there will be gradually shortening of the diastolic period. So shortening diastolic period means there will be decrease in diastolic volume, leading to a decrease in stroke volume. So after some time, cardiac output becomes stable. So initially there is a rise in cardiac output, but after certain heart rate, it is getting stable. Now, what is the effect of training? When a person is doing exercise over a period of time and he becomes athlete or a marathoner, there will be adjustment in the body for everything. So there is 40% increase in the cardiac output. The heart chamber of marathoners, that is athletes, is enlarges to 40%. As well, the heart mass also increases. That means there is a hypertrophy of cardiac muscle also due after intense training. So when a person is doing regular exercise over a period of time, there will be hypertrophy of cardiac muscle also. So due to this, there is increase in cardiac output. So what will happen? See, in untrained man at the rest, when cardiac output is around 5.5 liters per minute. So an untrained man during exercise, it rises to only 23 liters. But a trained athletes, there is rising around 30 liters. So reserve increases in the case of athletes. So it is always recommended to exercise regularly to increase our strength during needs of the body. So if you compare the non-athletes with the athletes, stroke volume at the rest, see, it is 75 ml in non-athletes, 75 heart rate. But you can see the heart rate of a athlete is, there is a bradycardia. So it is called as a physiological bradycardia of athletes. It is due to increased vagal tone due to regular exercises and ventricular hypertrophy. So during exercise, see what happens. In non-athlete, heart rate may go up to 195, which can be a dangerous. But in trained athletes, see, it is going up to 185 due to increased vagal tone. But performance is increased almost 165 ml. So performance wise it increases and danger wise it reduces. So it is always preferable to recommend exercise so that it has got a physiological changes in the body and adaptation to stress rises. So exercise is basically stress. So when you are under stress, adaptation is suitable. Now let's move to the respiration, because it is very important that when heart is pumping there should be adequate oxygen also within that, because only if the heart is pumping more, blood pressure is rising, but there is no oxygen, there is no use. Ultimately we need to deliver oxygen to the vital organs. So abrupt increase in ventilation at the start of exercise is presumably again due to psychic stimuli. Just like heart rate rises initially, similarly there is rise in ventilation initially and anticipation. Afferent impulses from proprioceptors in the muscle, tendons and the joints, they also leads to stimulation of respiration. Gradual increase in is presumably by the peripheral chemoreceptor. As a person is doing exercise, there is a relative hypoxia, and now hypoxia will again lead to what we have discussed during the blood pressure regulation. Peripheral chemoreceptors are there which are having oxygen sensitive potassium channel. They will lead to stimulation of respiration as well as blood pressure. Now this graphically presentation of ventilation, you can see at the beginning abruptly there is a rise in respiration. This is the psychic stimuli in anticipation of exercise. After that, which proportion of exercise it is rising, and at the end of exercise suddenly there is a abrupt stoppage of decrease of respiration. After that, gradual recovery takes place slowly to the back to the pre-exercise level. Now reasons are Ventilation abruptly decreases when exercise ceases, followed by a brief pause by more gradual decline to pre-exercise values. Basically, the lactates are coming from the metabolic product of exercise metabolism, and an oxygen debt is being incurred. So due to this, there is a oxygen has to be replenished back. So oxygen is gradually taken and lactate is being removed by the Krebs cycle. Now during exercise, oxygen consumption under normal condition it is around 250 ml per minute. This is the normal condition. But when a person is doing exercise, untrained individual, it may go maximum up to 3600 ml. But see, athletes trained, they are going to more 4000, and in marathoners or runners especially, it is going to about 5100 ml. So these are all the effects of training. So that means if you train your body will be better adjusted during stress and strain. So exercise makes a person more perfect to match for the stress and strain situations of the life. Now diffusion capacity also alters with the exercise. In non-athletes at rest it is 23 ml. During exercise it is 48 ml per minute. But see, as sports are changing, in skaters it is 64, swimmers it is 71, in oarsmen it is 80. So with again difference in types of exercise, performance of the oxygen diffusing capacity means oxygen can diffuse rapidly in these individuals. So these are all effect of exercises. Now reasons for this change is basically when a person is doing exercise under a resting condition, many of the capillaries are dormant and closed, they are not utilized. But as a person is doing exercise with increasing blood flow, these dormant capillaries are open and there is more surface area for diffusion. So because of this increased surface area of the diffusion, there is a increased diffusing capacity. So like this, when a person is doing exercise regularly, more number of capillaries are opened regularly. They are kept open, and because of this, oxygen diffusion capacity rises. So here we finish the respiratory circulatory adjustment to the exercise. We have seen effect of exercise on muscle blood flow, which rises very much about almost 25 folds. There is a rise in blood pressure, but again it changes with the type of exercise we are doing. There is rise in cardiac output, but there is a limitation with the heart rate. And effect of training is always good. It makes the performance much better as compared to the untrained person. And with the blood pressure and circulation, there is change in the ventilation also. So here we complete the adjustment to the exercise. Thank you.